Put your finger on the top of your head right now. Press gently. If your scalp feels tight, dry, almost like paper stretched over bone, that's not just aging. That's your follicles losing blood flow. Nutrients can't reach the root. Microinflammation is quietly building around every weakened follicle. And your hair gets thinner and thinner until one day you feel bare skin where hair used to live. But here's something most people don't realize. Most of those follicles aren't dead. They're dormant, starving, shrunken so small they've stopped producing anything visible. Dormant is not dead, and the difference between those two words changes everything about what's possible for your hair. Your scalp right now, if you're over 50, has blood vessels that have narrowed significantly. Nutrients that once flooded your follicle roots freely are now trickling in. Invisible inflammation wraps around every weakened follicle like a fist slowly tightening, and your body responds the only way it can. The follicle miniaturizes. The hair it produces gets finer, weaker, more transparent, until eventually it stops producing visible hair altogether. Conventional advice says take biotin, switch shampoos, try an expensive serum, and those things might help a little on the surface. But they don't reach the root cause. They don't open those narrowed blood vessels. They don't calm that silent inflammation. Now these oils I'm about to share, they work specifically in the situations where most expensive products, most conventional approaches, even most things your dermatologist might suggest, simply don't reach deep enough to make a difference. Specific fatty acids and antioxidants in these oils penetrate past the surface and interact with the follicle at a biochemical level. They target the root directly. I've ranked 7 kitchen oils from weakest to most powerful for thinning hair after 60. The oil at number 1 showed remarkable results in a 6-month clinical trial when researchers compared it directly to one of the most commonly used conventional treatments. They were genuinely surprised by how closely the results matched, and it probably cost you less than $8. But not all oils help. One on this list, an oil millions of people trust, actually clogs follicles and speeds up thinning. I'll tell you which one and exactly how to avoid the mistake. Let's get into it. Oil number 7, black seed oil. Every natural health channel treats this like it cures everything from hair loss to joint pain. And I'll be honest, there is real science here. The key compound is thymoquinone. It's a potent anti-inflammatory that calms irritation around the hair follicle. Think of it as putting out small fires across your scalp that you didn't even know were burning. In one clinical study, patients with a common type of hair shedding applied a lotion containing black seed oil for 3 months. 70% showed measurable improvement in hair density and thickness compared to placebo. That's not nothing. But here's where the hype falls apart. Thymoquinone works around the follicle. It calms the neighborhood, but it doesn't penetrate deep enough to knock on the door of the follicle itself and restart production. It's treating the sidewalk, not the foundation, and most people destroy it before they even apply it. If you've ever warmed black seed oil in a microwave, you've broken down the very compound that makes it useful. Microwaving shatters thymoquinone. Warm it gently in a bowl of hot water instead, and never apply it undiluted. Pure black seed oil on sensitive skin causes a burning reaction that people mistake for the oil working. That's not working. That's contact dermatitis. Dilute it, 1 part black seed to 5 parts carrier oil, always, with consistent use 3 times a week for at least 3 months. Expect roughly 10 to 15% improvement in thickness. Real but modest. And it takes a patience most people frankly don't have. 5 out of 10, helpful anti-inflammatory, but limited in reaching the follicle root. Now the next oil does something black seed simply cannot. It communicates directly with the follicle and tells it to keep growing. Oil number 6, castor oil. My grandmother had a bottle of this in every room of the house. She rubbed it on everything, knees, elbows, scalp, even her eyelashes. She couldn't have explained why it worked. She just knew it did. Turns out the science was always there. Nearly 90% of castor oil is a rare fatty acid called ricinoleic acid, almost impossible to find anywhere else in nature, and it activates specific receptors in your scalp that send a direct signal to the follicle, saying stay in your growth phase, don't shut down, keep producing. Here's where it gets more interesting. Research found that bald scalps have significantly elevated levels of a compound that actively suppresses hair growth. Later studies showed ricinoleic acid may inhibit the enzyme responsible for producing that compound. You're not just encouraging growth, you're potentially removing one of the biological brakes on it. Preclinical research using a 35% castor oil preparation showed increases in hair length, softness, and thickness in over half the subjects within just 1 month of consistent use. But everyone gets the application completely backwards. Castor oil is thick, syrup thick, and the instinct is to slather it on generously and sleep with it overnight for maximum effect. That's the worst thing you can do. You seal off airflow to the follicle. You create a warm, moist, oxygen-deprived environment where bacteria thrive. It's called follicle occlusion, and it triggers more shedding, not less. 30 minutes maximum. Mix it with a lighter carrier oil, because pure castor is too viscous to spread evenly. Apply, massage for 2 to 3 minutes. Leave it 30 minutes, then wash out using the double cleanse. That means shampoo on dry hair first without water. Work it through, rinse, then shampoo a second time normally. 2 washes every time you use any heavy oil. Skip this step and residue builds up layer after layer, suffocating the very follicles you're trying to save. And if you take blood thinners, talk to your doctor first. Ricinoleic acid can affect platelet activity through skin absorption. At our age, small risks deserve attention. 6.5 out of 10. Powerful mechanism, solid emerging science, but the thickness works against it, and the human evidence is still building. Now, both of these oils target the follicle, but what if the follicle opening itself is sealed shut? What if years of dead skin, product residue, and fungal buildup have blocked the entrance so completely that no oil, no matter how powerful, can get through? Oil number 5, tea tree oil. Let me be upfront. This is not a growth oil. It won't stimulate a single follicle, but it does something that makes every other oil on this list work dramatically better. Your scalp after 60 is layered with invisible debris, dead skin cells, hardened sebum, product residue. Your regular shampoo never fully removes. And underneath all of that, a yeast called Malassezia feeds on your natural scalp oils and creates a low-grade inflammation that slowly constricts the follicle opening over time. Tea tree oil is one of the most potent natural antifungals known to science. A clinical trial showed 5% tea tree oil in shampoo reduced dandruff severity by 41% in 4 weeks. It performed comparably to prescription antifungal medications. And here's the part that matters for everything else on this list. One study found that combining tea tree with a growth treatment improved results beyond what the treatment achieved alone. Because when you clear the blockage first, the active compounds in other oils penetrate deeper and reach the follicle faster. It's the difference between pouring water on packed dirt and pouring it on freshly turned soil. Think of tea tree as the Pathfinder. It goes in first and clears the road so everything that follows actually arrives at the destination. 2 to 3 drops in your shampoo every wash, but never undiluted. Pure tea tree oil burns your scalp. If your skin turns red or starts itching, that's not it working, that's irritation. Stop and dilute further, maximum 5% concentration. 7 out of 10, not for what it does alone, but for what it makes possible. Oil number 4, argan oil. I'll keep this one brief because its role is fundamentally different. Argan oil doesn't grow new hair. No clinical trial proves that. What it does, and does exceptionally well, is protect every strand you still have from breaking off before it gets a chance to grow. It's one of nature's highest sources of vitamin E, a potent antioxidant. After 60, oxidative stress on your scalp increases and your hair becomes brittle. It snaps instead of bending. You lose length not because hair isn't growing, but because it's breaking faster than it can grow. Argan oil stops that cycle. Body armor for your existing hair. Apply a small amount to mid-lengths and ends after washing. Not the scalp, the hair shaft. For anyone over 60, keeping what you have is genuinely half the battle. 7.5 out of 10. Now, everything changes with the next oil. It does something that sounds almost impossible. It physically enters the hair strand itself. Only one common kitchen oil on earth can do that. Oil number 3, coconut oil. Nearly half of coconut oil is lauric acid, and lauric acid has a molecular structure so unusually small and compact that it physically penetrates past the outer cuticle and enters the interior of the hair shaft. Most oils sit on the surface. They coat, they shine, coconut oil goes inside. A study in the Journal of Cosmetic Science tested 3 oils on their ability to prevent protein loss from hair. Coconut was the only one that made a significant difference. In damaged hair, it cut protein loss dramatically. Neither mineral oil nor sunflower oil came close. Now let me tell you something that genuinely bothers me, and I think you deserve to hear it. Pick up the shampoo bottle you used this morning. Flip it over. Read the ingredients. If you see sodium lauryl sulfate in the first 3 lines, you've been washing your hair with an industrial-strength detergent that strips your scalp of every natural protective oil it produces, every single wash. For years, decades probably, your scalp has been screaming for moisture and protection, and you've been answering with the very chemical causing the damage. And then these same companies turn around and sell you a $40 recovery serum to fix the problem their own shampoo created in the first place. Think about that for a moment. The product that damages your hair and the product that claims to repair it often come from the same company. But coconut oil has its own trap. Lauric acid feeds the exact yeast that tea tree oil fights, Malassezia. If you have dandruff, seborrheic dermatitis, or a naturally oily scalp, coconut oil applied directly to your roots will amplify the problem. More flaking, more irritation, more thinning. Use it strategically. Apply as a pre-wash treatment to dry hair. Focus on lengths and ends, not the scalp directly. 30 minutes maximum, then double cleanse. 8 out of 10. It does something no other kitchen oil can do. But the scalp sensitivity issue keeps it from the top 2. Now here's where this list takes a sharp turn. Everything up to this point has been helpful, some of it genuinely powerful, but the next oil produced results in one study that shocked the researchers when they compared it to conventional treatments. And somehow, it's still not number 1. Oil number 2, peppermint oil. The active compound is menthol, about 42% of peppermint oil, and menthol is a vasodilator. When it touches your skin, it triggers receptors that force the tiny blood vessels in your scalp to physically widen. A study confirmed that blood flow to the skin tripled after topical menthol application. Tripled. Remember what happens after 50. Blood flow to the scalp drops. Follicles starve. Everything thins. Menthol reverses that, rapidly. A 2014 peer-reviewed study tested 3% peppermint oil against conventional approaches on mice over 4 weeks. The peppermint group showed the most prominent growth effects of any group tested. Follicle count increased by over 300% compared to the control. Growth was significantly stronger than the conventional group. Follicle depth was over 200% greater. The dermal layer of the skin physically thickened. The study also found peppermint upregulated a critical biomarker called IGF-1. When IGF-1 rises at the follicle, the growth phase of your hair accelerates and extends. Everything about this data points in one direction. Now I have to be straightforward because you deserve that. This was a mouse study. Mice don't go bald the way humans do. No human clinical trial exists specifically for peppermint oil and hair growth yet. The data is extraordinary but hasn't been confirmed in people. That cool tingle when peppermint touches your scalp? That's not a feeling. That's measurable vasodilation. Blood vessels physically widening and flooding your follicles with oxygen and nutrients that haven't reached them properly in years. 2 to 3 drops per tablespoon of carrier oil. Never apply undiluted. It will burn. Patch test behind your ear. 24 hours before full scalp use if you have sensitive skin. My neighbor, retired pharmacist, heard me talking about this research and said something I haven't forgotten. He said if a pharmaceutical company could patent menthol for hair, it would be $1 billion product by next year. He's probably right. 9 out of 10, the most dramatic research data on this list, but no human trials yet, keeps it one step below the top. And that brings us to number 1, the oil that didn't just show results in a laboratory or on mice. It went directly against one of the most widely used conventional treatments in a 6-month randomized trial on 100 real human patients with diagnosed pattern hair loss, and stood toe-to-toe with it. Parallel results, with noticeably fewer complaints of scalp irritation. Oil number 1, rosemary oil. Your grandmother kept rosemary in her kitchen. Your great-grandmother kept it in her hair. Centuries of intuition. The science was always there, we just didn't have the instruments to measure it. Rosemary oil contains compounds that target the exact same hair-damaging enzyme that top dermatologists focus on when treating pattern hair loss. The enzyme responsible for converting testosterone into the molecule that miniaturizes and slowly kills your follicles. Rosemary targets it topically directly at the scalp, without the harsh chemical profile of conventional treatments. On top of that, rosemary enhances blood flow through a completely different pathway than peppermint, which means when you combine both, you're opening scalp circulation from 2 directions simultaneously. A randomized clinical trial published in a peer-reviewed dermatology journal assigned 100 patients with pattern hair loss to either rosemary oil or a conventional topical treatment for 6 months. At 3 months, neither group showed significant change. That's normal. Hair doesn't respond quickly. But at 6 months, both groups showed significant increases in hair count compared to baseline. The researchers found no meaningful difference between them, and the rosemary group reported less scalp irritation overall. An earlier study published in the Archives of Dermatology tested a blend including rosemary on patients with alopecia areata. 44% of the treatment group improved compared to just 15% using the carrier oil alone. More recent research pushed it further. A double-blind trial measured hair thickness improvements of roughly 70% and density improvements of about 32% using rosemary-based blends, measured with clinical instruments, not opinions, not self-reports. Actual phototrichography data. A woman in our community told me she'd been using rosemary drops in her shampoo for 4 months. She said her hairdresser asked what she'd changed because the new growth at her temples was visible from across the room. She spent $8 on the bottle. Her previous serum cost $65 a month and did nothing she could see. Here's how to use it. The simplest method, and the one I recommend if you're starting tonight, is the shampoo drop. Every time you wash your hair, add 3 to 4 drops of pure rosemary essential oil into the shampoo in your palm. Mix for 2 seconds with your finger and wash normally. You don't need to change your routine. You don't need special applicators or timers. 3 drops every wash. For stronger results, 5 to 6 drops in a tablespoon of carrier oil, massaged into your scalp 2 to 3 times a week. Evening application is ideal because your follicles enter their most active repair cycle at night. Always apply to a dry scalp. Water creates a thin barrier that dilutes the active compounds and blocks absorption. Towel dry completely before every application. Buy cold-pressed 100% pure rosemary essential oil. No added fragrances, no fillers, no blends. Read the label. If the ingredient list has more than one item, put it back on the shelf. A good bottle costs $8 to $12 and lasts 2 to 3 months. 10 out of 10. The only kitchen oil with multiple human clinical trials showing results that stand shoulder to shoulder with conventional treatments. Now let me tell you exactly what to expect day by day so you don't quit too early and waste everything you've started. Days 1 through 3, you'll feel a slight warmth and tingle from the rosemary and peppermint. That's circulation opening. Your scalp may feel looser, softer. That tight, papery sensation starts to fade. Week 1, the excessive shedding slows. Fewer hairs on your pillow in the morning. Fewer in the shower drain. The itching that you might not have even noticed calms down. Weeks 2 to 3. Under bright bathroom light, you may spot tiny new hairs along your hairline and temples. Fine, almost transparent. That's brand new growth pushing through follicles that have been dormant. Month 1 to 2. Those fine hairs begin to thicken. Your part line starts looking narrower. This is usually when someone close to you notices first. Month 3 to 6. This is when you compare your before photo to your current state and genuinely can't believe the difference. If I were starting fresh tonight, my exact routine would be this. 3 drops rosemary and 2 drops peppermint in my shampoo. Every single wash. That covers the 2 most important mechanisms, blood flow and follicle protection. Twice a week, a scalp massage with tea tree oil diluted in a tablespoon of argan oil to clear years of buildup and protect existing strands simultaneously. Once a week, a coconut oil pre-wash treatment on lengths and ends to reinforce the hair shaft from the inside and prevent the breakage that makes thinning look worse than it actually is. Total monthly cost, less than what most people spend on a single bottle of drugstore shampoo. Don't make the mistake of trying all 7 at once, thinking more is better. Pick 2 or 3. Rosemary is your foundation. Peppermint or tea tree is your support. Stay consistent for at least 8 weeks before you judge anything. Follicles operate on slow biological cycles. Patience isn't optional. It's the difference between results and frustration. And please don't stop any prescribed treatments without talking to your doctor first. These oils can complement what your doctor recommends. They're not a reason to abandon medical advice. Take a close-up photo of your part line and temples tonight. Bright bathroom light, same angle, same distance from the mirror. Put it in a folder on your phone and forget about it. 30 days from now, same photo, same light, same angle. Place them side by side. That picture is going to tell you a story your mirror hasn't told you in years. And if you've been noticing your eyebrows getting thinner lately, or your lashes aren't what they used to be, the approach changes completely. The oils that work best for that delicate skin around your eyes aren't necessarily the ones you'd expect. And there's one specific application method that makes all the difference for areas where the skin is too thin for regular scalp treatments.